Good afternoon, everyone. Tractorman 44. This afternoon, I'm gonna play around a little bit. It's nice, got a little sunshine, a little wind blowing. I ain't had this old tractor fired up for a while, so I'm gonna fire this old boy up, and we're gonna split just a little bit of wood. I try not to make it too boring on you. This will be a cold start. I ain't had this guy fired up, I don't even know. It's been 6 weeks, I don't know. If I'm lying to you, I apologize. I just can't remember the last time I had it running. But anyway, I'll give you an overview. This is an old Massey Model 30. You can see the faded number 30 up in the front by the radiator. The 333 on the gas tank don't mean anything. Somebody was just trying to make it look like it's a bigger tractor. A 333 is a overhead valve engine. It's 207 cubic inch. This here is just a little 4-cylinder flathead, 162 cubic inch Continental. I got this old tractor. I didn't give hardly nothing for it. It had been setting for years and years. It only pulled the sawmill for a couple of decades, and then it set for at least another decade. Everything was completely rusted up on it. Throttle linkages, steering, everything. Brakes were locked up. Steering gear wouldn't turn. It was just absolute horrible shape, but the engine was free. So I brought it home, and over the course of a month or two of soaking and tapping on it, busted all the rust loose and fired it up, and I'll be dang if it ain't a good running engine. This is my designated PTO Woodsplitter tractor. It just runs all day long and just sips fuel. And here's my homemade wood splitter back here my brother built. I've got a video on it somewhere. I don't even know what the name of it is. Something about a homemade splitter. But anyway, my brother, I helped him, but he did 99% of it. He built this back 38, 39 years ago, back in the late 70s. We got the relief setting on the control valve fairly low so we don't tear anything up. You can really crank that relief valve up and really increase the pressure tremendously. It splits most everything that I need. I don't really force it, you know, because I don't really like beating the heck out of everything. It's getting old, and so am I. So I kind of take it easy. A little fast idle, you know, that's fast enough. You know, the cylinder moves good enough or quick enough for myself, working by myself. Now, I do ramp it up a little bit when I got my son or my son-in-law working with me, because it can definitely move it a heck of a lot faster. But anyway, back to the old tractor. It was a standard drawbar tractor, and it has a hydraulic pump on the side of it for a cultivator lift. And this one here, somebody had taken a Saginaw, which is this 3-point attachment on the end, and that's a Saginaw 3-point adapter made specifically for this particular tractor. I don't really use it, but it'll work on any category 1 3-point implement. It works fine. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. Strong as can be. I mean, that cylinder is so much more powerful than the standard cultivator lift cylinder comes standard on these tractors. But at any rate, I'm going to pull that off there and sell it, because I just use this as a drawbar tractor. Somebody else can get more use out of that Saginaw 3-point than I can. It'll fit any of these 30s, 33, 44. At any rate, I'm going to fire this thing up. So this thing here never fails to start. It's always a very easy starter. Got the old typical Marvel Chevrolet carburetor on it. Nothing done to it. You can see how nasty and greasy and grimy it is. I got a little fuel filter on there, and I did clean the carburetor when I got it running, but that's all I've done, and I don't know how many years ago that's been. And I put a new choke cable on it. You can see that new choke cable going all the way up there by the steering wheel. Let's see if this puppy will fire. If the battery ain't dead, it ought to go. Now, believe it or not, that is the way that tractor fires in the dead of winter, down to 0 degrees Fahrenheit. That tractor almost always fires up like that. The cool thing about this, the way my brother designed it, is with that A-frame axle, where you can put that bar on that axle, that boss, and attach it to the wedge, and you can actually adjust the height of the splitting beam, whatever height you want, or put it all the way down on the ground like this to roll great big pieces up on to bust into halves or quarters, and then raise it back up to a workable height. And you can infinitely vary that workable height depending on whatever size block of wood you want to put under there. You can always add a second cylinder, just never got around to doing that yet. Obviously, that's somewhere near or more than transport mode. But anyway, working height is somewhat less than that. I prefer it to be about knee level to the bottom of the beam to myself, somewhere in that area. I'll typically transport it about like this. But you can clearly see how that A-frame axle functions. Now what we do, we pick out a chunk of wood, whatever length we need to put underneath the beam, and then disconnect that arm. But like I said, this would be easily remedied if we was to put a second cylinder and a separate control valve on it. We would have to mess with a block of wood. But like I say, we got so much other stuff to do. This worked for 39 years, 38, 39 years. Another 10 before I get in my grave, probably do just fine. You know, to the untrained eye, this may look like just a hodgepodge, mismatched bunch of industrial waste, and in some ways it is. But you kind of have to look at the description I've got of my channel, and we believe in doing things our own way. You know, trying to be as self-sufficient as possible. We build things, look at a problem that we may have, or something we may need to build, and we try to solve it with things that we do have, you know, in stock, on hand, or at least have access to. You know, so yeah, is it kind of a rough-looking thing? It may be, but a coat of paint would really make a big a big change in its appearance. But you know what? I ain't got time to do that. This thing works functional. It's been functionally well. We've had very minimum amount of issues or problems with it in the 40 years since my brother's built it. He has since, like I said before, built another one, much better, more refined, and a much heavier capacity, and just all in all a much better splitter. But at any rate, one of the cool things about it is that A-frame axle. You know how I described that, or showed you how that worked at the beginning of the video. Man, it's really cool how it just kind of kneels down on the ground, and you just roll the big pieces up on it. I really like that. And if you notice, there's a lot of odd-looking, odd-shaped pieces and everything in there. And that's because, we get a lot of tree trimmer wood, and the typical tree trimmer, he's making money by just getting his stuff, you know, on the ground. He's not going to try to cut it nice and neatly, and I understand that. And they're giving it to us, and it's free, so I'm not going to complain at all. So that's why there's a bunch of really odd angles and odd shapes and odd lengths and stuff like that. But I don't mind. That's just what it is, man. But at any rate, I certainly hope you enjoyed this. Hope it wasn't too long and too boring, and I've still got all my fingers. So there you have it. Just a few minutes of splitting wood. This Tractor Man 44. I'm going to go stack it.